Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaun here with another edition of Shaun Solo. So, today is a sad day. It's a sad day for Nintendo fans, or more specifically, Amiibo collectors. The Wave 4 of Amiibo figures is hitting the market in just a few hours, and it's going to be hard to get some of your most desired toys if you were so... or Amiibos, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not really an Amiibo collector. I don't really get it. Nintendo's never given me a compelling reason other than, like, if I were a figurine collector to buy them. The integration with the games and stuff like that is pretty minimal, to the point of almost being useless. So it's just not something I ever felt like the need to get into, honestly. But yeah, so there's this whole thing going on where these are going to be pretty scarce. Probably the hardest to get out of all of them. Amazon's got its own weird initiative where it's started to sell them. I've been about an hour and a half or an hour. It's going to start on Pacific time, 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's about 4 o'clock right now as I'm recording this. And yeah, so what they're doing is they had to kind of change their entire system. And I quote, "Throughout the afternoon of Friday, May 29th, we'll be posting each Wave 4 Amiibo figure individually within the following time windows. Each will become available for purchase at a random time during that time frame. Mark your calendars for the following times tomorrow. Here's the schedule in case you want to set your alarm and pray." So that's kind of a weird thing, right? So each figurine is going to have a half-hour window, a 30-minute window where anytime in that 30 minutes they could go on sale. To add insult to injury, in terms of like this sales style, they are disabling the one-click purchase option. You're gonna have to go through the whole thing, so you're just gonna have to hope you can get through the process before somebody else to like officialize your order. They're limiting one per customer, and what else? Yeah, make sure you got all your ducks in a row because it ain't gonna get any better. So that's for people that don't want to go brave the stores. But there's already been reports back about people that went to Target and stuff like that this morning. I mean, people were in line for this stuff, not in droves, but significant enough to basically sell out of all the new toys, or the new Amiibos rather. Enough people to do that. So usually, I guess, but if you look at the numbers of what these stores get, it's crazy. Some of them only have like one or two at a time, of these things in their first initial order. There's no word if they're going to be printing more of these or shipping more of them to retailers and stuff. That's something people don't know. If you see like the cover photo here, what you're looking at as I'm speaking, that's an example of the scarcity of some of these figures. Ness, there's only going to be 2, Luna 1, Robin 1, Charizard 1. So that's pretty crazy. But the reason I really wanted to talk about this is Nintendo sycophants, Nintendo fanboys are coming out in droves in comment sections of people that are being kind of critical of this. Because let's be honest, like, Amiibos are kind of hot item for a particular set of gamers. And it's actually a considerable number. These things sell very well. People take a lot of pride in their collecting, and I understand to a certain extent. I am a collector of some sorts. I collect books and movies and things like that. But I mean, it's a little bit of a different field because, for example, I wanted to get the collector's edition of Nightbreed, the director's cut. It came out this past October, and I knew it was going to be hard to get if I didn't pre-order it and get it right away. So I went ahead and I pre-ordered it and I got it. I'm very happy with it. Really great box set. But even then, there was enough to fill demand, because that's a pretty niche thing. Nightbreed Director's Cut, Clive Barker's Nightbreed, that's a pretty niche thing for people that are going to be interested in it. And they had enough where, I pre-ordered that thing only a few weeks before it actually ended up coming out, and I had no problem getting it. But, with the Amiibos, you can't pre-order them. It's all, you have to get them as they are released. So it's kind of it's a little different because there is no real conceivable reason why they couldn't just make more of them, or if they have made more of them, they're just sitting on them and they're not shipping them out. Nintendo said in a statement sent to Polygon at the beginning of the month. We're trying to meet the demands of our fans and consumers by increasing the amount of Amiibo we manufacture and ship to retail. We may continue to see consumer demand outpace supply levels for certain characters at times, but we will do our best to prevent that from happening. I think that's kind of bullshit. I think they're artificially creating a scarcity. It's an artificial, like, kind of drive for collectors so that they can basically sell out and sell the max amount, which is, from a business standpoint, it's like, I get it. It is a way to make sure your sales are high for Amiibos, basically, and that the people that really want them will go out and get them. But it is kind of a bummer, I guess, for the more casual people, or people that just can't, dedicate an afternoon to going out and buying fucking Amiibos. It's fucking crazy. But like I said before, what I really want to talk about is like the people that are defending this company. It is ridiculous, some of the shit people are saying. I'm trying to find it. Maybe I can't find it. I might have to. They go even so. Yeah, here we go. There's this guy on this comment section of this article, and he is basically saying that, well, what if there isn't enough machines in the factory to make enough to fill demand? Are you fucking kidding me? That is insane. That's insane. That is an insane statement. And it's just like, functions. He gets really in deep here. And it's really not worth reading the whole thing. But like, that's the kind of thing people are ravenous with their Nintendo fandom. And yesterday I was singing their praises. I was really impressed by their getting on the Humble Bundle train. It's the first consoles games to be sold through Humble Bundle. That's pretty cool. Kind of a big deal. It sets a precedent. And this, I guess you could say, also sets a precedent, just on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's more of a negative precedent, in my opinion. Yeah, but I don't kind of buy that they're trying to meet demand and stuff. I think this is artificial scarcity, which is weird because Nintendo's like, they're trying to drive up their sales, but they're also kind of like against reselling stuff, But this is going to create an insane like eBay spree for people. People that are going to be trying to get these things and paying way over market price at some point. I bet you some of these things will go for a lot. Well, let's check. Let's look. We're going to do this live. Let's see. Let's look up Rare Amiibo. Rare Amiibo. Rare Amiibo. Yeah, so we've got some here that are going $30, $50 buy it nows. You can get a set of 5 for $210. There's $37, $40. So yeah, basically these things that sell at retail around $12, I believe, seems like they're going for an average of $50 after kind of their marketplace business. And I'm just surprised. I guess I'm surprised Nintendo is kind of encouraging this kind of behavior. I know the retailers are doing the best they can. They're trying to, mitigate that whole thing by kind of limiting quantities and stuff like that. But some people are really aggressive. Some resellers are insanely aggressive. They go out in droves, bring them and 10 of their friends to go each buy one of the same thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. This actually reminds me of the Xenoblade Chronicles fiasco with GameStop, where they were sitting on copies of it in a warehouse, pretending that it was scarce, opening copies so they could resell the game at the higher eBay price point. Because when it came out, it was a GameStop exclusive when they finally brought it to North America, if you remember. And so that was the only place you can get it. After a while, they sold out of their first run of it, or what was in the stores. Actually, they didn't really have too many on shelves. It was something you kind of had to pre-order. I pre-ordered it because it's a really great game, actually. But so I got my copy or whatever. But it was only a few months later where you were starting to see it pop up on eBay and stuff like that for about like $80, $100. So GameStop decided to get on that train. They actually had a shit ton of them in their warehouse. They opened them all. and then they put a used sticker on it and sold it for the eBay price of around $85. It's gone down since then. I think people kind of got wise to it, kind of called them out on their bullshit, and yeah, the price has since gone down considerably. You can get it for pretty much what you would have paid for it when it first came out, about $50. You might have to pay a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure, because it makes sense. It was a limited run of a game. To a certain extent, it was limited. I mean, GameStop obviously had enough copies, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. I just didn't expect something like this, kind of in this day and age, because there was a time where pre-ordering games and stuff like that, especially kind of niche titles and niche products and stuff, was an actual thing that you had to do if you really wanted it. It would be hard to find. And I just don't see that in today's world. It's kind of something we've moved away from. And, there are retailers and there's people that are desperately trying to, the last time I was really pressured really hard into, in an almost old-fashioned sense, into pre-ordering something, which I didn't pre-order it, was Modern Warfare 3. And so, I go to GameStop and buy a game. I want to buy my game. He's like, "Oh, is there anything you would like to pre-order? You want to pre-order the new Modern Warfare?" I was like, "No, not really. I'm good." And he was just like, "Well, if you don't get a pre-order in, you might not get it. They're saying that they're not gonna have enough in stores." And I was like, "Man, that is fucking ridiculous. People haven't had to do that in years." And he just looked at me all befuddled. He's like, "I don't know." I was like, "Man, I guarantee you, if I come here and it's not there, I will walk across the street and I will go to Target and they will have a whole display full of them." And that's exactly what happened when that game launched, because it's just, there is no such thing as, the scarcity thing. It just doesn't really exist anymore. They print almost too much, almost too many copies, because there is the chance that it might be a hit, and they want people to be able to buy the games. This is a money thing. So that's why I'm kind of confused about, I guess, Amiibo, because I understand, if you're going to have a limited run, because Amiibos, even though they are kind of popular, they are they're niche to a certain degree. Why you wouldn't even just meet the demands of your market, because I'm sure they have the data. I'm sure they're aware of roundabout how many people, buy Amiibos and how popular they are. I'm sure. It's not that I can imagine. I am positive they have that market research. So are they selling themselves short? I wonder what the deal is with this whole thing. I wonder what's their end game, I guess, in this. And the fact that there's no fucking compelling reason to actually buy an Amiibo unless you just want to buy one. Unless you just want it as a collector. Which is fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I thought it was funny, just the Nintendo fanboy is already out, talking about, well, what if they didn't... That cracked me up. That guy in that comments section totally cracked me up. What if they don't have enough machines to meet demand? I was like, that is ridiculous. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Especially since they announced these waves, from what I understand, pretty far in advance. And people get excited, people get ready for them, because they got to promote them. I'm sure there's plenty. They probably have more in a warehouse somewhere, and maybe they're sitting on them for, I don't know, for a couple weeks, couple months. But so they can, make sure that they sell a certain, they meet some kind of quota the first weekend or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. Nintendo's weird like that, though. They're not into meeting demand a lot of times. They're not into doing reprintings. They're not. I mean, Pikmin 3 is a Wii U launch. No, not a launch game, but it came out a year and a half ago, and it's already hard to find, and you're already gonna pay. I mean, even for used copies, you basically pay retail, brand new retail. I thought that was kind of crazy. Nintendo's just like that. They are such an antiquated company at this point. It makes you shake. You're just like, what are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you, Nintendo? Alright, well, that's going to do it for me. Enough raving and ranting. I'm Shaun, and I will talk to you guys next time I got something to talk about.